Hi, good morning. I'm going to be doing a charity shop find, but it's only one item that I found. You'll have seen in the thumbnail what it is anyway, but here it is in the flesh. This gorgeous little child's sewing machine. It is a Vulcan Minor, so it's a little name on here. Oh, actually, I didn't realise that was raised. I thought that was stuck on. That's a good thing, so it's not going to come off when I clean it. There are a couple in this range. I'm sort of quite eyeing up the next one up, which is actually a blue one, which is the junior, and then there is a senior one, all designed for children. It is vintage. It is 1957 apparently when it was made. I've tried to do a little bit of research, not a huge lot of information out there. If you've had one of these, if you've had one of these passed on to you, or you've got it boxed up somewhere and it was something you've got a lot of memories for, pop a comment below, let me know. It's really fascinating to find out about these things, because as I said, there's not a huge amount of information online, so it's really going to come from sort of personal memories, the information that we can get. So it was May Day event, the charity shops were open, there were stalls everywhere, so we went into the village. And I wasn't planning, I always said I'm not going to buy anything today. I wasn't planning on buying anything, but I saw this up on the shelf. I couldn't resist. I really couldn't. As somebody we knew saw us, and he sort of looked when I got to the counter and he says, how did I know that you'd have bought that? Not quite sure what he means there, but I think it was a bargain. I paid £7 for it. I know people think of charity shops being super cheap, but for a vintage piece that is super cheap. On eBay they're like £25 plus, and some of the things are missing on them. The only thing missing for this is the clamp to hold it to the table, so it might be a bit fiddly to sort of mess about with, but everything else is there. We'll discuss that as we look at it top down anyway. So I'm going to clean it on video. I'm also going to see if it works on video, so we need to get a bit of fabric and we're going to try and do a few stitches, and let's just see how it goes. So fingers crossed it's going to all work out. I hope you're going to join me while we have a little clean up and see how it goes. I have done some research because I haven't got a clue where to start. I'd have been getting ready with soap and water, which is something you mustn't do. So I've done some research, I've got some tools here, so we're going to have a go at cleaning, and I'll see you in a second, top down, see how this goes. See you in a second. Right, so here goes. I haven't really got a clue. I just know I've got to be careful. So we'll have a little look at the machine itself. As you can see, it's in great condition, really. Apparently, this is something you need to watch for if you're getting one, because that is commonly broken off. So that is something to be aware of. I know when I've been looking at the ones on eBay, because I say I'm thinking of getting a junior one, I've noticed there's quite a few with this missing. So you do need to be careful. And as I said, there's a clamp that does go here to clamp it to the table, which I haven't got, but that's not really an issue because predominantly it's going to be on a shelf sort of as a piece of sort of artwork, ornament, whatever you want to call it. So you can see it's quite dusty. It looks like it's got a bit of paint or something on it there that shouldn't be there. A little bit of the paint coming off there. We can see at the back it's a registered design, and that is the number and the patent number. Now, as far as the research goes, it is a Sydney S. Bird and Son that made it, and as you can see, it does, or I hope you can see, it does say made in England, and apparently it was in Poole, which is an area obviously in the UK, and 1957 is the date that keeps coming up, so I'm presuming that is when it was first created. Now, another thing that people have commented on, if you're looking for one of these, it was actually under the name of, let me get this right, Cylden? It's Cyldon products. So, you know, you might not find it under Vulcan, which I think you will because I have on eBay, but that is what it actually was. Now, it has a little hand crank, of course, and look, it works, and it works quite nicely. It doesn't sound like it's creaky nor doing anything nasty. That feels a little bit loose, but I think it would have been. But let's have a look. Is there a screw there? Oh, the camera's too close now. We will have a look at that a little bit in a few minutes. I'll lift the camera up, I think, but it does seem to be working quite nicely. And I must admit, I had absolutely no knowledge, so I feel a bit silly saying this because some of you are probably going to know what it is, but there's me going, well, where do I put my bobbin in? How does it work? I'm like looking underneath and I'm like, it doesn't, I I don't get it. How's it happen? You know, you put your cotton in there and then what happens? Apparently it's a chain stitch, which is how they were made. And I've watched a few people on YouTube and I was absolutely fascinated with this. We'll have a look at the actual stitch when we've cleaned it and I have a go with some fabric. But yeah, absolutely fascinated. I tell you what though, my granddaughter, we bought a sort of a modern child's sewing machine, which I actually think is a load of rubbish. It is really cheap, really plasticky. I think she'd probably be better off learning to sew on this, because this feels way more solid. I mean, they are quite substantial. Apparently it is a die cast body. So, I mean, it's all metal. So it's nice and solid. And think how old it is. I mean, 1957. Oh, I can't add up. But anyway, you can work that out how many years ago it was. So it's really stood the test of time. Apart from a little bit of weathering, a little bit of rusting perhaps in places, a bit of sort of the paint rubbing off. That's pretty good. So she's had that one. We used it couple of times, really not impressed with it. It's just been sat on the shelf now. I mean, she's had it 2 years and she's desperate to sew with it, but it's just a bit rubbish. This I feel far more confident her having a go at, so we're going to get it cleaned and I am going to let her have a go at it. Just having a little check what else, if there's anything general information before I start cleaning. Oh, one thing that made me laugh though, obviously you've got to think this was mid 1950s it was created, and this sort of line doesn't work anymore, but at the time it would have been a great product sign. And basically the sales line was for a lucky little lady. Now, yeah, we might scoff at that now and think, oh, well, you know, it doesn't matter who has it. But again, in that era, it was very much promoted that a young lady would sort of be aiming to be a homemaker. So that is why it was that. So yeah, okay, it was of its time. We can sort of laugh at it now, perhaps. And I think that's the best way to do it. Laugh at it, not be insulted by it. It was just what it was. And we all know better now. So anybody can have a sewing machine. It is just an amazing thing to have. And it's just amazing. I just love them. I just love sewing machines. I am absolutely useless with them. I mean, I can sew some stuff. But I actually think I'm going to be happier with this to have a play with. I do have a vintage Singer, which I've done nothing with. And I don't know, I sort of fancy working with that to make some doll clothes rather than my electric. I just don't get on with the electrical things. Anything that's electrical, I will damage or it'll decide it's not working. So let's have a look at actually cleaning it up and what I'm going to use. Now on research, like I said, I'd have got in there with soap and water. So glad I didn't. The first thing really I need to be looking at is getting any sort of residue dust off. So I've just got a makeup brush here. I thought that might do. But for the actual cleaning, it turns out sewing machine oil. Who knew? Again, I suppose it makes sense. It's predominantly metal. It's not going to damage it. But apparently with the sewing machine oil, it doesn't take off sort of like, if it's like a posh Singer sewing machine, for example, and it's got all like decals on it. Decals? Anyway, you know what I mean. Sticky on bits. If it's got anything like that, it can take it off, apparently. So you do need to be careful. You still have to be careful with the oil, but it's much kinder. And from what I've seen, it brings it up. You say if you've got like an enamelled Singer sewing machine or whatever brand it is, it brings them up beautiful, really shines them up. So I've got some sewing machine oil and I've got some little cotton wool pads. Some people were using like a cotton sort of, I can't think of the word, yes, a cotton cleaning sort of cloth, that's the word. But it's a bit small to get into. So I decided cotton pads, and also I have some cotton wool sort of tip things here, some cotton buds. Dear me, I don't think my mouth is working today, so I've got these just to sort of try and get into the smaller pieces. So we're going to do that now, and let's see what happens. I say I would have really gone in with soap and water, which is not good. So I'm basically having absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So I thought, well, anything that might be loose, hopefully. This is, I mean, you can see how, look at that side, I presume is where it's sort of been held more. And we turn it round. I'm not convinced that's not going to be a soap and water job, because that's a bit of plastic and that's a lot of ingrained dirt. So I'm just trying to move anything that might be loose. It's a really weird angle this, because obviously I've got the camera in front of me. I'm going to hit a certain point where I am going to probably turn the camera off or pause it. I will get on with a little bit more work and then come back to you. So I'm just sort of getting an idea of what is happening here. So underneath, again, there'll be a lot of grime, but to be honest, you know, it looks pretty clean, doesn't it? I think somebody has really looked after it. I don't know whether you can see the original sort of colour of the enamel just in there. It's gorgeous. But saying that, this is not in bad condition. I do have this to get off. Now, sticky labels and me don't get on. Oh, thank you. The person at the charity shop has clearly not stuck it down much. That's just come straight off, because you know, these labels, I mean, you can feel it's still sticky, so they've not stuck it down properly. People stick labels on things and you can't get it off, or then it damages what's underneath, and it is really frustrating. So let's have a go. I just want to have a little go to show you how, or if, I mean, again, this is new to me, if the oil, does do what it says. Yeah, oil. I get things everywhere. This bottle was in a box I got, and there was machine oil everywhere, so it's got to stay out now. So let's see what dirt comes off. Oh, I've got to be careful because the stand on the camera is attached to the table. There we look. Oh, actually, not too bad. I think somebody may have cleaned this up before it came to the charity shop, because a lot of it is not bad at all. But I think you can sort of see there's a little bit coming off the shine that the oil is making. I think it's definitely sort of got a shine to it now. It's definitely cleaning it, but as I say, I think it's actually quite, oh look, we've got some dirt coming off now. That's good. Need to get right into those corners. I think that, I don't know whether that's, oh, that might be the, I thought that was a bit of paint added to it. I think it's the sort of the enamel, is it an enamel paint, I'm presuming, has come off. I'm not going to go down the line of redoing it. I think that would be dangerous, and I'll probably make a mess, and then that would spoil it. The argument is, if something's vintage, do you completely take it apart and repaint it, re-clean it, everything? It's like the dot with the dolls, this. Or do you leave it in its current state? Because that is sort of part of the charm of it. I don't know. I'm in two minds with that. Sometimes I like to see things nice and new and shiny. And, you know, if somebody did have the knowledge, I would like to see this sort of cleaned up properly. But I don't know. I don't know. Nostalgia or clean up. I think that's probably the word. I think it's coming up quite nicely. Is that dirt? I can't tell. I don't know whether perhaps a cotton wool pad is the best route. Perhaps a nice cotton cloth would have worked, but I think this is okay. Right, just out of curiosity, I'm going to get a new one and just see if this is, because I think this is metal, and so it should, in theory, come up shiny. Let's see. I think it's shinier. I don't know whether it's, oh no, look at that. That's coming up nicely now. But it doesn't seem to have much dirt coming off. That's weird. But, so I'm trying not to knock the camera, so probably I'm not pressing on as much as it could do with. That's what I say. I'm probably going to come off camera, give it a good sort of clean up. Let's see if this handle bit comes off with the oil. I think that's going to need that's going to need soap and water. I mean, I've got to be careful here. I don't want to damage it. But can you see? That's quite a few years of grime. Ugh, it's a bit, not exactly the thought that I wanted there. So I don't think oil is going to bring that off. I do think I need something abrasive, but just make sure I only get the handle, not anything else. All this needs doing inside here as well. So I think perhaps in a couple of minutes, I'm going to sort of, like I say, click the camera on pause, get that cleaned off, and I'll let you know what I use to clean it off. To be honest, again, I've just plain soap and water, and there's something, I don't know, sort of, I've got one of those scrub daddies, something, if you don't know what a scrub daddy is, you'll wonder what on earth it is. It's basically a sponge, but the brand is Scrub Daddy because they look like little faces. They're really cute. well, that's definitely coming up better. I hope you can see that it's got a bit more of a shine to it now. I'm presuming perhaps you should polish it up a little bit after, maybe with a dry cloth. Yeah, there's bits coming off this as well, so maybe it wasn't the best idea. I'll see if I can find a little cloth or a piece of cotton and I'll use that instead. It certainly does look shinier. You can see we've got a little bit of a shine going off there. I mean, to get in the tiny bits, I realised I was not going to get in there with that cotton pad. I'm going to put that on my table though, just because I'm going to pour it everywhere. I know I am. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on that. And then getting in under these, I think that's the thing, because obviously because it's machine oil, you can see a little bit of dirt coming off. It's not going to hurt if it gets inside, because that is what it's designed for. If anything, it might actually help with the movement if we do get a little bit of oil. I hope I'm all right saying that. I hope I'm not making a mess of it. I suppose I could take it apart a little bit more, but I'm a bit nervous about doing that. You can see the dirt coming off there. Let's try the other end. Ooh. That's why I've got that on the table. I'm known for being incredibly messy and spilling things and dropping things, and yeah, it's sort of a bit of a standard joke in our house that I'm like that. Oh, I've seen a bit that's dirty there. How did I miss that? Can you see when I was doing the back? I think it's because of the angle I'm doing it at. Let's have another clean cotton wool pad. Now I'll just have a little go at that bit. I think there's a bit of rust there though. I think it feels rough. I mean, it could be dirt, but I think we might be. Although it looks a little bit orangey, so again, I think that could be a rust issue there. Don't want to be taking the paint off. I'm saying rust. I hope it's not paint that's coming off. It does feel rusty. Like I said, when I pause the camera, I can get a closer look at the actual cleaning of that. But I definitely think the oil is the way to go. So if you have a vintage sewing machine or something, pop on YouTube, have a look. There's quite a few videos out there about restoring them, but they all say machine oil. Seems to be the best one, sort of least damage, but I would look for a cotton cloth as well, not this. It's not hurting it, it's just that I can see some tiny pieces of fluff. I suppose when it's all dry and you can sort of wipe it down with a clean cloth, it would be okay. The only thing is, I think the only cloths I've really got in the house like those microfiber ones, and I don't think they're going to work. Again, you're going to get that issue of bits perhaps. But it definitely does take off a lot of the residual dirt. So I'm going to pause now because I want to have a go at getting this off. I mean, I might have to scrape it off. I don't know, but scraping wouldn't hurt. I mean, it's going to be an early plastic it's made of. I don't know, would it be Bakelite? Am I in the wrong era there? Possibly, but possibly not. I'm not sure when plastic really sort of got in there. But look, it is coming off. It's not scratching. Even with my nail, I can see it hasn't scratched anything. So I might have to do that sort of a little bit of abrasion to get it off. So I'm going to be back with you in a minute or two. And then I'm going to say it's as clean as I can get it. I might need to do a bit more research on it. But I will see you in a second. Right, so I'm back. I've cleaned it up as much as I can. As you can see, we have some very dirty pieces of cotton wool and the cotton buds here. So it has taken some dirt off. And let's have a look at this handle. Ta-da! All the grime is off. And that was just a bit of soap and water and a little bit of graft rubbing at it, but it came off okay. I did try to clean this. I think some of it's come off, but I'm really worried about it because the reason they don't sort of appear with them is because they're brittle, so you do have to be careful with them. So now we're going to try and actually sew. Now from what I've seen, people are using just sort of like a bobbin, so I'm going to use sort of one of these, which obviously is usually underneath the sewing machine. And as far as I can see, so I've watched a couple of people, obviously bobbin goes on there, that doesn't take much work in. And then you see this bit here, that is where the thread has to go between because this is the tensioner. Now there's not a lot of move in there, so again I've been a bit nervous and not gone as far as sort of taking it apart, because I thought, oh, I'll take it off and clean that, and then I thought, no, if I can't get it back together, because I've seen where springs have been broken and things like that. Now a couple of people have tried it. One person tried it on the top, but it just jumped off. Somebody tried it underneath, still didn't work. Now somebody double looped it, so we will risk it. I would have thought that would make it a little bit tight, but oh no, it still runs. That's okay. So that's that stage. So next one is an easy one, because it's through this biggish hole here. The next one's not going to be easy because it's through a tiny weeny hole. The needle I haven't changed. I've left it as the original. So let's have a look. Now this is where my eyesight is appalling, and again, because I'm looking from a distance rather than right up to it, this might have to be a pause as well. Is that it? I can't even see where the hole is. It would help if I actually put it in where the hole was, wouldn't it? Which is somewhere there. I'm going to have to pause because I need to bring this a little bit closer to me to see. Right, I think I've done it. So I've took it through here, just come straight down and through there. Now we have our little lever at the back, so I can lift the foot up. So I'm going to put my cotton through there, and this is going to be the moment of truth. I have a couple of different pieces of fabric to sort of see how it goes, because I mean it might not work at all, so this is definitely an experiment. Now obviously I can't hold it on the table, so it also might be difficult to sort of hold and sew at the same time. So I'll just put my fabric under, and I'm going to sort of try and hold it like that best I can, and then just trust the fabric. Let's see, do we sew? Do we sew? I don't know, it's moving, but whether it's sewing I cannot see just yet. It's going a bit lopsided because, like I say, I can't hold the actual fabric. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. I'm going to go all the way off, and let's fingers crossed it's done something, because if it's made the chain stitch, it should continue making a chain stitch. Oh, it's not. Right, now have I done something wrong? Now if you're watching this and you go, oh, you've not threaded that bit, although look, it does seem to have chained there, but for some reason not held. You can see where the stitches, hold it on where you can see it to help, you can see where the stitches would have been. In fact, let me move it over there a little bit because I pulled it towards me. So let's try again, because basically it should, let me turn it upside down, loop here. So unless something here is broken, which I don't have the knowledge to know that, I'm not sure. I really was hoping it would work. I mean, it could be just because it's not been used for so long. You can see it's made the holes, and you can see it's a bit rusty as well. So up we go. I keep wanting to go that side to put my foot down because my machine's there. Right, I love the action though. The action is amazing. As I say, it's a little bit difficult to hold because I can't sort of hold both together. I don't think it's picking up the chain. Oh, that is sad. Now if any of you have this, oh, has it done something? I don't think it has now. Tell you what it is doing though, it is cleaning its underneath. Let's take it out. Right, no, it's not picking up at all, which is a real shame. I'd love to know why. So if some of you are out there have got some sewing machine information for me, I would be grateful. Have I threaded something wrong? I think that's okay. It feels, because if you sort of you can, it's a little bit tight, but it's okay. I don't think the tension's too bad. Again, if it's too tight, let me know and I can alter that as well. Have I threaded it the wrong way? Should we try doing it in the opposite direction? This is where I can't thread it again now though. So I'm gonna have to put it towards me, guys. And let's see if I can actually thread it. See if I can actually see it. It is a very tiny hole on this. Kids would have certainly been learning a skill if they were doing this, just to thread a needle. Right, I've actually got it through. So let's not tangle it. So now I've threaded it in the opposite direction. I don't think that is going to make any difference, but you never know. The needle up, foot down. And again, I'm going to have to hold it like this, so you never know. Let's see what happens. I don't know why that cotton shouldn't be there, should it, on top? No, it shouldn't. What am I doing? Oh, actually, oh, I think it's done it. Oh, what have I done? I've tangled it all up now. Oh dear, I do make a mess of things. Right, so we're going to try that again, because it seems to be, if I thread from my right to the left, it seems to be picking up. So now I just want to get that out of the way, because that was in the way. I've got an awful lot of thread there, haven't I? Let me cut some off. Perhaps a colour thread might have been better, because then you'd have been able to see it better, but never mind, we will see. Right, so we'll try again, because I think it was doing it. I don't know why. Now it looks twisted. Oh, what am I doing? It's twisted. Right, for some reason now my cotton seems to be twisted around. So I just need to undo that. It feels weird working on something so tiny. I still like it better than my other machine, even though it's not working yet. Right, let's see. Shall we try? Please, 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 please. I think it's doing something. Oh, don't put my finger on it. That doesn't help, does it? I think it's stitching. So I'm going to carry on going all the way and take it all the way off the edge, because from what I've seen, then you can see what the stitch is like. It hasn't. Oh dear, what am I doing? It was like it started to stitch. Can you see? And we have got some stitches. It's missed one there. Now I did put my finger on it though, so could it just be me? Probably is me. So I'm going to try on the other side. I've got a bit of fluff there for some reason. And let's try it again. Last time. If it doesn't work, I will have to sort of spend a bit of time with it to see if I can get it to work. I think it was working though that time, so I'm not going to touch anything. It's really hard to keep my fingers off it. I think it is stitching. I'm desperate to try and move the fabric, and I can't, because obviously I can't let go of the thing. So we're going to get a very wonky line. No, we've not worked again. This is weird, because it did and then it didn't. So what am I doing wrong? I'll tell you what I'm doing wrong. It isn't even in the needle. Oh, pause time again. Nearly knocked the camera there. Right, it is definitely threaded now. No wonder, of course, it's not going to sew if the needle's not threaded, is it? Right, the needle is threaded. Are we ready? This is my last chance. You can sort of see it creating like a little loop. So I'm hoping that means it is sewing. Can you? I'd have hours of fun with this now, let alone as a child. This is so much more satisfying than an electric. Right, we're going to go up the edge and see if it still does chain, which apparently it does, but it doesn't, because mine hasn't. Oh no, it has. It has. I think it's stitched. Right, now I know because it's a chain stitch, it can come undone really easy, so we've got to be careful, because if I pull it, it's going to do it. It has actually stitched. You really can't see that very well. Can you see the back? So you can see it's like a chain. It's like a long chain, but it has actually stitched. Right, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to try, I know pleather's not really a fabric you would imagine, but it might show up on this pleather, that's all, because it'll show the stitches. But I'll be quite curious to know if it does. Right, so shall we try it? Come on. Ah, where do I hold it? No, I know why it's not. I tell you what, if I needed holes in leather, the needle's, it's come out to the needle again. Why does it come out so easy? I don't know. But you can sort of see. Can you see? I don't know whether you can see. The light is terrible, isn't it? Right. Last chance. I said that last time, didn't I? Right, what I decided to do, I paused it, I changed the colour of the cotton because I think we might be able to see what we're doing. But I tell you what, it doesn't have to come out of that needle easy, and threading it is not easy. You need good eyesight, and I think mine is sort of not quite as good as it used to be. So we'll do it on the opposite side. Right, so we're in position. Everything's there. Hopefully it won't come out, and hopefully we're going to get, so I'm doing it again on some stitches. I can feel it pulling a little bit now, so to me that sort of indicates perhaps, although it's pulling a little bit tight at that end. Again, perhaps if it was bracketed you could hold this, but obviously if I try holding the fabric it doesn't really sort of work, so I think that's probably one of the problems. Yeah, it's just, I think it's picking up the other piece of cotton, but it has sewn, it's sewn. I don't know why it's holding that piece of cotton. Right, so we're going to say we got there because, needle up, there is some sewing, but I don't know why it decided it was catching it up. Now, as I mentioned, because it's a chain stitch, now you can see we have some stitches. What you would have to do is, if you were using it, this loose end, take it through and, can you see, I'll put it right in the right place would help, because I'm looking at it rather than the camera. As I was saying, because it's a chain stitch, you would need to thread this through, thread it through that and tie it off, because I will do it after we finally got it to stitch. I'll show you. That is what will happen with a chain stitch. So you do need to make sure. Let's have another go with this pleather. One thing I've not fathomed out is why, perhaps if I try and hold that cotton a minute. So that's the cotton that's catching when I do the other bit. So I think I need a clamp if I'm going to be using it at all, or if my granddaughter has a go with it. Now, I don't know whether it'll have even gone through with the pleather. It hasn't, but I'll tell you why. It's come out again. I'm not going to do it again for you. We saw it does sew. You're going to be fed up of watching me do this. Now, it does come out of the needle really super easy. Oh, I drop it. Oh, it's out already. So again, if it's clamped to the table, I could have watched that thread and guided it through, because I wouldn't have had to sort of worry. I could use this hand for guiding while I was doing it. But it does work. We can actually say it works. How cute is that? So I am so happy with that. I hope I didn't come out of the screenshot too much, because I was aware that I suddenly pulled it towards me rather than towards the camera. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. A bit random. Some people will like it, some people won't. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I could sit and play with it for ages, but I can't. I've got to get some work done. So I don't know, maybe a little bit more cleaning up, see if I can get hold of a clamp. I'm pleased that all that dirt's come off. It does look a little bit better. We've got a little bit more of a shine to it now. So it's going to be sitting up on my shelf, so you'll be able to see it behind me at times. But yes, I'm over the moon with it. I definitely want the blue one, but I'm going to wait till I can get one in good condition, and we need to make sure this is here. I'm hoping to get a clamp, because I might be able to share the clamps, and I need to make sure all the bits and bobs are there. So thank you so much for persevering with me while I had a fight with that. But we did finally get some stitches, so it did work. Like I said, in its day, can you imagine getting that brand new out of the box? It would have been amazing. You'd be there clamping it to a table, making bits and bobs. So if I can get it going properly, I'm going to have a go at making a little doll cushion, sort of to see whether you can actually do it. And then I can let my granddaughter have a little play. I'll see if my husband's got some sort of temporary clamp to put it to the table, and we can have a better play with it. So as I say, thank you for persevering with me on that one. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed some of it at least. If you do enjoy my channels, obviously it's not usually things like this. It's usually crochet or dolly items or charity shop finds, yes, but not usually sort of more the mechanical based things. So if you do enjoy what I do, please like, subscribe and share. You know how it goes, and I will see you all very soon, and bye bye for now.